to each other. Good morning.
That might be interesting.
Yeah. 8:49. Let's go back into the KUAM News Zoom room where he's here representing employer support of the Garden Reserve, Dave Sablon. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, Sabrina. Should I wear my mask? Because I feel naked here when you two are wearing the mask and I'm not.
No, it'd be a shame to put a mask over that handsome face, Dave.
Okay, all right. So you must be ugly then, right? That's why you're wearing a mask?
I do really good when up 60% of my face is covered. I move up into model territory. Then I throw on the face shield and it just obscures all the stuff. So right now I'm probably looking like David Hasselhoff.
By the way, I just want to say to you, Chris, that you're correct. We don't have a function this year, unfortunately, to make the awards to our employers because it's malfunction.
There you go.
Is that the secret word?
Yeah, I was waiting for that. I was waiting.
Ooh, his head is so big right now.
Man, I need a new face shield. I need to go get a double XL.
So thanks for coming on, Dave. I know that you reached out. You wanted to talk about some of the things that ESGR has been up to and this change of responsibility ceremony that's coming up.
Yes. First off, thank you very much for allowing me to come on the show with you. And we are having what we call a change of responsibility event tomorrow, where Don Clark, who is our current state chair for the ESGR, which stands for Employer Support of the Garden Reserve, will be basically handing over his responsibility as chairman to Lieutenant Colonel Ray Lanetta, retired U.S. Army, effective tomorrow. October 1st, so that would be Wednesday. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Wait, what's that?
October 1st, Thursday.
Yeah.
I've been in quarantine so long, I can't tell the difference of the days now.
You're in quarantine?
Well, self-quarantine, because I'm in that age group that's kind of risky. So I kind of just decide to stay home most of the days. And sometimes I can't tell the difference. I wake up and I think it's Saturday and it's actually Monday. So forgive me. The change of responsibility ceremony and event will be on tomorrow, but it's effective Thursday, October 1st, when Ray Lanetta will take over as chairman. And, I just want to say that ESGR is an organization that supports very strongly our men and women in the military. And the way we do that is by educating their employers, because most of these members of the Garden Reserve are actually part-timers. Their real bread and butter, their real jobs are actually out there in the community, whether it's with the government, whether it's with the private sector companies and various industries, or with other government entities, such as the federal government. We also have service members up there in Saipan. We have about 100 Army reservists up there. So we go around. There's 20 members of us in the committee. We're all volunteer employees of Department of Defense. So we go around and educate the employers on what their rights and entitlements are, that being the service member employee, so that they can have some sort of harmony on the workplace, especially when their service member employees are called to, up for military duty. Sometimes they'll be away just for a weekend during a month, or they may go as long as maybe 6 months or even longer. And that puts a major strain on the employers. So we go around, the volunteers will go around and talk to these employers and just explain to them that, these men and women are serving us, defending our rights and freedoms in our country and our island. And we should support them. And that's what we're all about. That's what ESGR is all about. That's basically our mission.
And how was Ray selected to take over for Mr. Clark?
Yeah, this is very interesting because we have to appoint a selection committee, and then they would interview potential chairman, whether it's a member of the committee. We have 20 members. It could be one of us, or it could be somebody from the outside, where they would interview them, and then we would send in about anywhere from 1 to 3 names. If it's only one, that means that the committee has a very strong support of that individual. If there's 2 or 3, and I think maximum of 3 that we send into our headquarters in Washington, D.C., then it would be up to the national chairman and the executive director of ESGR, national executive director, to interview those 3 or review their resumes, and then they would appoint one person to be the chairman, and they will go through a background check, make sure everything is okay, because effectively that chairman represents the Secretary of Defense when he or she does their duty out in the community. And so that vetting process was done I think late last year, early this year, and Ray Lanetta was selected and supported by our committee locally as well. And so he received his letter of appointment, and then we're going to go through now a formal change of responsibility on Thursday. I'm sorry, tomorrow, effective Thursday.
And as as Ray heads out, not Ray, as Don heads out, he's actually going to be presented with an award as well.
Yes, outgoing chairs actually, we normally get invited to Washington, D.C. To receive our medal, our service medal from Department of Defense, and also a nice, beautiful certificate that you can hang on the wall that you've done your duty very well. A term of a chairman is usually 3 years. So Don has served for 3 years, and the maximum is 2 terms. So you can actually serve up to 6 years. I was chairman myself for about 6 years, and I'm now called Chair Emeritus, which is a nice title, which means I can choose and pick which events I can attend. I'm not going to be penalized or anything in that regard. And so because of this COVID-19 pandemic, unfortunately, ESGR headquarters has advised us not to attend any events where there's going to be a gathering of people. So we have to do, in fact, that ceremony that we're going to do tomorrow is going to be by Zoom as well. So you can see the background behind me. This is the way we're going to have our meeting with everybody on the Zoom with this background behind us, because it is a formal ceremony. So we have to be as formal as we can to change the responsibility to the new chairman. And then, Ray takes on the helm, and he has a major responsibility because he's representing the Secretary of Defense in anything that we do here as a committee. He is guided by our executive director at the national level to do his duties out here. We get a budget so that we can, spend some money. We do things like lunches with the boss, where we invite employers to come and listen to what our mission is as ESGR. We also give them, a presentation on the law, the Uniformed Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, which outlines all the benefits and privileges and rights and entitlements of service member employees that work in the various community industries in the private sector and in the government. And so this is what we do. We also at times we can actually call on the the Air Force or the Navy to allow for some of these employers to come on base and go visit a submarine or a ship, a carrier, and sometimes we would take them up in a KC-135 refueling jet, and we would have them witness a refueling in the air of B-52s and fighter jets and things like that. And we've done that in the past several times already, and we've visited submarines and ships, and even I think we took a trip one time with a ship going up to Saipan, and then from there everybody flew back. And so, we do these things so that employers get a true and good understanding of what their service member employees do when they get called on to do military duty and wear that uniform. And so we do boss lifts. And then, of course, one important aspect of our service is that we do ombudsman mediation. There's going to be some times where employers are going to be concerned about their employee, taking off 2-3 months during a year, and normally their vacation is only for 2 weeks, and yet they're gone for 3 months, sometimes 6 months or longer if they're actually on deployment. And so, we have to make sure that they understand this law so that they can appreciate what their service members do. And then as a result of that, they have a better understanding, and hopefully there won't be any conflicts on the workplace. But if there is, then our Ombudsman Services Directorate and the ombudsman, there's about 3 of us here in Guam that are trained, and we would intervene and explain the law to both the service member and to the employer, and hopefully they'll arrive at some sort of a compromise on what to do. And I want to say very emphatically and very proudly that Guam is one of the best committees in resolving conflicts between employers and service member employees. And in fact, we've always been resolving these issues upwards of 87 to 93%. So all of the cases that come to us, we've been able to resolve it at that percentage level. And if we can't resolve it within 2 weeks, then we have to refer it to the Department of Labor, U.S. Department of Labor. And at that point, it's not a mediation anymore. It becomes an advocacy of the service member against the employer. And so we try to tell the employers, you don't want to go to that level, because once you do, then you're going to have to hire an attorney. You're going to have to go to the U.S. District Court, defend your policy or the way you advise that service member employee and why they can't go on military duty. So you're going to have a lot of problems. In the meantime, the service member employee taking you to court, it's all free for him, So they can do whatever they want and take depositions and things like that. So you don't want to have the U.S. Department of Labor involved, unfortunately, for you.
Are we
So when
talking
they
about?
understand that, they're very supportive.
Are we talking about situations where employers maybe terminating employment of people that are on the guard that are having to be deployed? I mean, are those the
Yes.
types of cases we're talking about?
Yes, we've had some issues like that where some employers will say, well, if you're going to be away for so long, then I'm going to have to remove you from our employment. We've had some discrimination where service members, employers are told that, well, if you're going to be away or you're a member of the military, then we can't hire you, especially if some of these people are applying for a job, and then when the employer finds out they're a member of the Guard or the Reserve, they skip them and go to the next person. Well, that's against the law, against the USERRA, the federal law. And, the job offers are protected under the law. So if an offer was made to you for a job and then the employer finds out later that you're a member of the military and they remove you, you can't do that. The law already now is covering that service member employee. So employers are now very educated. We've done probably in the hundreds of employers in bringing them in to lunches with the boss, or even visiting them at their office or their job sites to explain the law. And we've reduced now the caseload quite extensively downward, but we've increased the inquiries. So we handle a lot of inquiries, probably about 100 a month.
Wow.
Where employers or service members are calling us and saying, can you give us some idea of what I should do about this? Because my employer told me that I can't come back to work yet until next month, but I'm ready to go back to work. Well, the right of that service member employee is that they have to go back to work within several, ways, depending on how long they were away on deployment, but the maximum is 2 weeks. You can't make them wait longer than 2 weeks. Otherwise, the employer will have to pay back pay. And I don't think they want to do that.
Well, thanks a lot, Dave, for coming on to our show. Congratulations to Ray on his appointment. Was there any final message you'd like to send out to the community?
Well, I just want to thank you as well for allowing me to talk about our organization. We have 20 great volunteers who do this work. And, I just want to give them a shout out for, thank you all for your service, because in addition to our military men and women, we all serve. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Dave. Stay safe.
Thank you.
All right.
Wash your hands. Thank you, Dave. Keep it going in our KWAM News Zoom room, where we just allow a few minutes here to sanitize everything.